I forgot my computer.
Dear God.
I feel so
What are you going to
exposed.
do?
Like, I feel like everyone's looking at
They
me.
can see your fit now.
No, you know what I feel like? I feel like a newscaster.
Yeah.
Reporting live. This is Taryne Renee with Unsolicited Advice. Coming back from the break, we will enter into our Tearing It Up segment.
Oh, God. Oh, God. Well, I don't mind it. It's nice.
No, for you.
It's nice being able to see you.
Okay, well, I asked you to join me and you said no.
Well, I can't. I cannot. I need my computer in front of me because it has all my thoughts and I take notes and all those things.
I feel itchy within myself.
You're just very uncomfortable
I'm very uncomfortable.
If you guys want to see Taryne very uncomfortable, you should check out our YouTube channel because all of our episodes are recorded. I don't know if you guys knew that. Stop hitting the table.
What do I usually do with my hands?
I think they usually sit behind your laptop. Yeah. Guys, this is priceless. You really should.
I hate this.
Check out the YouTube video on this episode. Okay. It's worth the watch for sure.
Let's just go.
This is it.
Let's go.
We are going.
Today's fiendish affirmation is enough is never enough. When you love a good thing, you always want more, right, Ash?
Always.
Why be content with having enough when you can have more? Best Fiends always satisfies your need for more. More puzzles, more me time, more fun.
That's my motto, Taryne. Guys, once you download Best Fiends, you can play absolutely anywhere. And get this, even without internet connection, which is great when you're stuck in a situation without Wi-Fi, God forbid, but we all know it happens. You collect tons of fiends that get powered up as you play more levels. Everyone brings new challenges and thousands of puzzles to play. And they have new in-game events all the time.
Download Best Fiends for free from the App Store or Google Play. Plus, earn even more with $5 worth of in-game rewards when you reach level 5. That's friends without the R. Best Fiends. Today's episode is brought to you by Indeed. If you shied away from challenges, you wouldn't be the person you are today. Need to hire someone who loves a good challenge as much as you do? To find them fast, you need Indeed.
If you guys don't know, Indeed is the hiring platform where you can attract, interview, and hire all in one place. Don't spend hours on multiple job sites looking for candidates with the right skills when you can do it all with Indeed.
Indeed knows when you're growing your own business, you have to make every dollar count. That's why with Indeed, you only pay for the quality applications that match your must-have job requirements. Need to hire? You need Indeed. Visit Indeed.com/advice to start hiring now. Just go to Indeed.com/advice. Indeed.com/advice. Terms and conditions apply.
Hey, how are you doing, Taryne?
Not well.
It doesn't seem like it.
Not well.
Catch us up. What's going on?
Let me think. I mean, life is pretty good. It's pretty mellow right now.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like, you know, when you're in between, like, I feel like I like processed all my surgery stuff and I'm good now,
Mm-hmm.
but then it's not happening for like a while still.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like I'm just in this weird in between, like where you're like waiting till your vacation comes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but
like
not
a
a fun
weird
vacation.
Yeah, it's
Vacation's not a good example.
I have like butterflies when I think of it, and I'm choosing to feel like it's exciting butterflies.
I would more so equate it to like you're studying for the SATs, and the SATs are a ways away, but you know
and you're like, I'm not going to stress about it. So it's here. That's how
That's what.
So
I
feel like life's been very like, I think mellow. I'm like weirdly in a good place mentally right now.
Building a lot of Legos.
Yeah. Maybe that's why. It's a cry for help. No, yeah, I've been doing a lot of Legos. I've been
Getting
hanging out
dressed
with a lot of friends.
for 6 days straight.
I got dressed. Yeah, I feel like I've been very intentional about like being in a good place. Because I think sometimes we think it's all mental work, but it's not. So like even like physically, you can do things to like help yourself get out of a funk. Like for me, it was I'm going to like commit to getting dressed in an outfit every day. And like it was hard, but it also weirdly helped.
Yeah,
where I
makes
was
perfect
at.
sense to me.
So I think that's it. We're going to Vegas this weekend.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
going
we
to
are.
be rough. I haven't been to Vegas since I've been in my 30s.
Yeah, me neither, I guess. Well,
Have we? I don't think I have.
no. I guess the last time I went was I was. I'm so sorry. I went
Was I not
earlier
there?
this year, but it wasn't that kind of a thing. It was it was like a event thing.
Yeah.
One of our dear friends is getting married next year, and get this, guys, get this. This is like the dream wedding invitation.
Yeah.
Her wedding is in Florence, and it's not even just like a random girl that's getting married in Italy. It's a wedding photographer who has shot multiple weddings in Italy. And not only does she have all of the connects from being a photographer who shot weddings in Italy and has been multiple times just because she's a little travel crazy, but she has a cousin who works at a venue in Italy and also has connects, and he's been out there for years.
Yep.
So this is the ideal situation. This is like the person that the wedding you've always wanted to be invited
it's
to.
going to be a movie.
Is happening next year. We're all very, very excited, but her bachelorette party is this weekend, and it's in Vegas, and it is going to be
absolutely
wild.
insane.
Am I prepared? No.
No.
I have already started the hydration train in preparation for this weekend. Like, I'm keeping it clean. I've been working out every day. I've been trying to pound water because I'm going to be so dehydrated this weekend. It's going to be rough.
She, like, every minute of every day is planned and beyond extra. So it's going to be intense.
My tattoo sleeves came in.
My tattoos came too. Well, okay, so why we got tattoos.
Yeah, let's clarify.
One of the nights, the theme for how to dress is dress your type. So it's going to be this group of like, how many of us is there?
There's like 24 girls.
Yeah, like 24.
It's the biggest
like,
party.
Hot, beautiful, in their prime
Ladies.
women, and we're all going to go out dressed as men, our type. So I'm wearing like a matching Nike sweatsuit with like a hat, and then I'm gonna have like tattoos on like my neck and my hands. And then, do you want to say what you're dressing?
I think I'm trying to figure out the bottom still. I think I'm just gonna wear like black sweatpants.
Yeah.
And I was going to wear an Aviator Nation shirt or hoodie, and then my boyfriend's aloe hat because he wears it constantly.
Yeah.
He's part of his brand as just a human being is all of his tattoos. So I ordered those like cheap tattoo sleeves because he has pretty much a full sleeve on one arm. The other one has just a few. So I tried to find like all black tattoo sleeves, and they only came in like packs of 12. And like, so I was like, you know what? I'm sure someone else's guy has something similar. So I'm just going to bring them all and give them to everyone to use. But I picked out the one I'm going to use last night.
It's going to be crazy. Like, a lot of the girls are getting like wigs, facial hair.
Are you doing anything like that? I was going to maybe draw a beard, but
I think I might draw on like stubble, but I don't think I'm going to get a wig because I'm wearing a hat. So I think I'm just going to like pin my hair up.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's going to be so, because like nobody's going to look sexy. Because even if you're going to wear black sweatpants, like you can't wear cute form-fitting ones. They have to be like,
and I can't wear
crazy
like
baggy.
sweatpants with heels is the vibe. But like in chunky sneaks is, it's very interesting. I've never done anything like this. Part of me hates it because no one, I don't know, the part of the fun of Vegas and being female. If you are a listener, let me clue you in on this. Free drinks is a real thing, and getting into clubs for free is a real thing as long as you dress the part. Like the code is look sexy, you will get free drinks and you will get into places for free. Not when you look like a dude.
Yeah.
So will we have fun? Yes. Is it going to be a riot?
Everything ourselves.
That one night is going to be interesting.
But I will say, like, there was one time me and my group of friends dressed as the Sons of Anarchy crew. And we all were so, like, I was Jax Teller. Like, we went hard. And we were in San Diego, and it was during Halloween, and, like, all the girls are in, like, pasties and nothing, right?
Yeah.
we got so much more attention than everyone because like all the guys thought it was so cool.
Yeah.
So I feel
But
like
did
we
you
could
look still like feminine? Like was your hair and makeup still done?
I mean, slightly, but I was
I'm
wearing like
picturing
leather
me
jacket
with like a beard drawn on my face.
But I think the shock factor, I think we'll get it. Like,
yeah.
and any guy that I would be interested in would think it was funny.
I mean,
so
yeah.
I'm still hoping to get some connects in the love department.
Well, I have high hopes for Saturday.
Yeah.
I have zero hopes
What
for
if
Friday.
I only get hit on the night that I'm dressed as a
Friday.
dude?
That is.
I'm gonna have to rethink.
We'll have to unpack
my
that
life.
later if that's if that's what happens. But we are very, very excited. It's going to be so much fun, and we're looking forward to it. I have to pack tonight because we leave tomorrow.
Rough. Do you have anything else you need to update on?
Oh,
wait,
yeah.
go.
I had. Well, okay, couple of things. One, today is mine and my boyfriend's 1 year, which is crazy. Ow. Feels like I just met him. It went by so fast, and
But
we're very
then also
excited.
it feels like you've been with him forever.
I know.
It's
like
really weird.
It's a weird like emotion. But very, very excited. Also, he doesn't know because I booked us a reservation at Yamashiro. If you guys have never been to LA or are planning to come to LA, it's this really dope, very old Japanese restaurant in the Hollywood Hills. It's so good. It has a beautiful view of downtown and just like the city in general. And he's never been. So I booked a reservation there for tonight and he doesn't know.
Cute.
So very excited about that. I came in like bothered today because I had an appointment this morning at like 9:30 and it was in Pasadena. And I was like, you know what? That's an easy drive. I wake up, says it's going to take an hour. And I was like, an hour to get to Pasadena? So I'm like rushing. I didn't eat. I like threw on clothes and then tried to get like fully ready because I was coming straight from there like to here. So I wanted to be podcast ready. So then I finally get there. I'm running late. I'm just like a hot mess. I finally finish and I'm coming on my way back and I'm like typing in the address to get back and it says an hour still. And I'm like, what is up with traffic today? There must have been an accident. Like something must be really wrong. And then, I like scroll down a little bit more to see if there were any other options. And I noticed that somehow avoid highways was turned on.
Oof.
And I could have gotten to my appointment in probably 20, 25 minutes tops. And it took me an hour
because
I
driving through
side streets. Yeah.
Rough.
I literally went all the way around. It was crazy.
Yeah. You've recovered though.
Yeah. But in other news, I found a podcast that I like.
On your drive?
Yeah. It's called Obsessions Wild Chocolate.
What does that mean?
And it's this guy who is just obsessed with chocolate. And he decides to go on an adventure to find the purest form of cacao. And it's in like, I forget where, but like somewhere in Africa, like just like middle of nowhere, and his whole adventure to find it. And he's an excellent storyteller and it's really good.
There literally is a podcast for everything.
I mean, yeah, we really got in at a good time.
We really
We've
did.
been around and
Yeah.
I feel like everyone's starting podcasts
We're
now.
established.
They wish they're as cool as us.
Yeah, they really do.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing. Well, I think that's all.
Obsessions Wild Chocolate. Check it out.
Wild chocolate. We're start picturing us as men. I can't wait to like take photos.
Yeah.
I bet I'm just gonna look like my brother, which is unfortunate, but. Today's fiendish affirmation is enough is never enough. When you love a good thing, you always want more, right, Ash?
Always.
Why be content with having enough when you can have more? Best Fiends always satisfies your need for more. More puzzles, more me time, more fun.
That's my motto, Taryne. Guys, once you download Best Fiends, you can play absolutely anywhere. And get this, even without internet connection, which is great when you're stuck in a situation without Wi-Fi, God forbid, but we all know it happens. You collect tons of fiends that get powered up as you play more levels. Everyone brings new challenges and thousands of puzzles to play. And they have new in-game events all the time. And one of my absolute favorite ones was their pirate one. I got sucked into it and I was playing for hours. I literally lost track of time and it was like 3 a.m. and I had to go to bed. But it was so much fun. And with thousands of levels, there's always more to play. So you can go ahead and let enough is never enough be your mantra.
Download Best Fiends for free from the App Store or Google Play. Plus, earn even more with $5 worth of in-game rewards when you reach level 5. That's friends without the R. Best Fiends.
Well, I am very excited because I have a very good Tearing It Up.
Ooh.
I read it, found it last night, and just giggled the whole time. It was so funny and very cute. So here we go. Oh, do you want to explain what a Tearing It Up is, Taryne?
Yeah, it's basically we have a segment where we read embarrassing, funny stories, and then we all laugh together.
Do we need to continue to explain them?
I feel like no, but also, I mean, I guess if new people are here.
Yeah.
But,
Just thoughts, just thinking out loud.
I don't think we need to.
If you don't think we need to explain them anymore, let us know.
Everyone's like, please stop.
They're like, we know.
We get it.
Okay, let's get into it. Hey, Taryne and Ash. I'm so obsessed with your pod, especially the October series. And yes, I'm one of those people who listens to podcasts at the gym. I personally think listening to good/deep conversations is a better escape or distraction from literally dying during a workout than music is, but to each their own. I mean, I completely disagree, but
Yeah.
again, like she said, to each their own.
I need some hot slamming bass in my ear.
If there is not a bass keeping tempo for me, my tempo will fall.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden I'm strolling because I could listen to a podcast during a stroll. Not a sprint, not a run, you get it. Anyways, continuing. Anyway, I want to get right into this funny story because it was so awkward and I'm still recovering. My name is Liz and feel free to share it. Hey, Liz.
Hey, girl.
So I recently joined a new gym and it has a bunch of high-tech fancy equipment that I'm not really used to. Lately, I have been loving cardio on the treadmill with the pre-recorded workouts that they have stored on the machines. Eventually, I found out that I could connect my headphones to the treadmill through the Bluetooth so that I could hear the trainer on the screen and follow along. I took my headphones off and put them in pairing mode, trying to get them to connect, but it didn't seem to work. I got tired of messing with it, so I said whatever and started the workout anyways. I continued playing your podcast through my headphones, but it was not nearly loud enough, so I just figured my very old Beats Solo wireless had finally stopped working. I finished my 34-minute interval run and took my headphones off to head to the locker room, but I could still hear your podcast playing. Not just playing, but playing loudly and very clear over the gym speakers for all to hear. Yes, you heard that correctly.
Wait.
Yeah.
Wait.
It's just so funny. It's so funny. Like, what are the odds? Not another treadmill next to her, but the main gym
How
speakers.
does that even happen?
Their system must have some kind of Bluetooth linking system that isn't locked. Like, it must be public.
Oh my gosh. Wait, so everyone just had to listen to us talk? I hope it was like a really weird episode too.
She continues, frantic and confused. I started messing with my headphones, trying to figure out what was happening and how to get it off. I finally figured out that my phone had somehow gotten connected to the gym's Bluetooth speakers when trying to pair my headphones with the treadmill. I didn't even know that was possible. I didn't know that was possible either.
I didn't either.
But clearly, maybe it was like a newer gym and they just hadn't had that issue yet.
But also, like, none of the staff cared. They were just like, ah.
Well, they probably, like, once it's... Oh, true. Like, you would think they could just, like, turn it off.
We just caught their interest right away, and they were like,
what's going to happen?
let's listen. Who are these chicks?
I wonder what they're going to say.
Dang, should we get sponsored by the gym?
I mean, that would be it.
Hit us up. 24
hours. Fitness. I was like, what's the name? Anyways, I was literally so embarrassed, but tried to play it cool because everyone, and I mean everyone, was looking around trying to figure out what was going on and who had messed up. LOL. I could not let everyone know that it was my spooky podcast about a webcam stalker playing nice and loud for my entire gym
series?
to enjoy. Webcam stalker. That was a good one, too.
That was a scary one.
That was scary.
Yeah.
So, everyone was probably like, wait, what's happening?
I would have been, yeah.
And she said it went for 34 minutes straight.
Wow.
That's like almost a full episode.
That's cool.
She continues, I still have no clue how this happened or why an employee didn't come and turn it off, and I'm too terrified to try to connect to those stupid technology advanced machines ever again. I'm literally traumatized, although at least it wasn't an episode about boy drama or periods. Then I quite literally would have moved to a different gym. Well, actually, she wouldn't have to. She would have just had to play it cool.
Yeah.
As long as no one knows it was you.
No, yeah.
There's no embarrassment.
You just have to like look around too, acting like, who is that?
What's going on?
Inconvenient.
Hope you got a good laugh at this free promo from me,
Heck
LOL.
yeah.
But I love you guys and your content. Keep being amazing. Your faithful listener, Liz.
Wow.
P.S. Here is a technology-related dad joke that I got a kick out of.
Hit me with it, Ash.
What did the man do when his Nintendo match ended in a tie?
I don't know.
He asked for a Wii match.
A Wii match.
Thank you, Liz, for the dad joke. We love a good dad joke.
We do?
We do.
Wow. You heard it here first, folks.
Listen, guys, we couldn't have a dad joke on every episode for the last 3 years and not be able to say that we love dad jokes.
I still think you just secretly hate it so much.
Oh, I think I've made that clear.
So you can't say we.
Well, it's our podcast, is it not?
We're like the
I
parents
tolerate
that we make parenting decisions together and then fight about it in secret.
Yeah.
Love that. Love that for us. We'll talk about this later. Okay, well, let me freaking read from my phone.
You'll be fine.
Like a peasant. I hate this so much. I feel so... I keep like cowering, behind my mic. It's
like
just
hunching?
Weird. Yeah, it's just weird.
I feel like...
Or do I always do that?
I was... yeah. Nothing different.
Okay, cool. All right. This story is titled, Am I the Bad Guy?
Ooh.
It's a little lengthy.
Could be, could not be. We'll let you know at the end.
Yeah. So buckle up. Okay. All right. I'm going to try to read fast. Taryne and Ashley. I love it. Usually it's like, hey, Taryne, hey, Ashley. But this is like addressed like a letter, you know, like Taryne and Ashley, comma.
Mm-hmm. I love the grammatically correct
right?
ones.
How are you guys? Well,
we're okay.
Rewind to the beginning if you want an update. First off, I would like to tell you guys that I absolutely love your podcast and look forward to it every week. You guys are truly special. Thank you for what you guys do for us. For this story, I would like to remain anonymous, but you guys can know my name.
Got it.
In case you wanted to know, Ash.
I wonder if they can ever hear that.
I'm hoping Michaela.
Nah.
Do what you got to do, Michaela. I'm an Enneagram 9.
My people.
But 2 was a close second.
Still my people.
She's our child.
If Taryne and I had a kid, it would be you.
Yeah.
You lucky duck.
Yes. She did give a trigger warning that she goes into a little bit of grooming and toxic relationships. So with any of our stories, if you feel like you can listen to it and talk about advice or listen and participate in the discussion, obviously we would love you to be here, and we try to always talk about hard topics in a very like gentle way. Mm-hmm. But if that's something that triggers you, then obviously use your judgment for that. I apologize in advance because unfortunately there's a lot of backstory to my current situation. My story starts 4 years ago. I was a sophomore in high school and on a month-long vacation with some family in Mexico. On this vacation, I met a family friend that lived in the city we were visiting. This guy was significantly older than me, but as a boy-crazy teenage girl, I was immediately crushing on him. Mm-hmm. I had a crush on like everyone when I was little. But if she's a sophomore in high school, how old are you?
Sophomore, 15, 14, 15.
So significantly older. I'm assuming
sophomore,
he's
you get
over
your
18.
permit, so 15.
Yeah. I thought he was so cute, but really that was it, as we didn't even speak each other's languages. However, while in Mexico, he started to reciprocate some flirting. This is the first ick of the story. Fast forward, and I was back in the U.S. and didn't think anything would come of this innocent crush I had in Mexico. To my surprise, we started chatting here and there on Facebook Messenger. Here and there quickly became FaceTiming every day. No, literally, we talked so much that I am now fluent in Spanish.
Oh.
We talked for 3 years, and he quickly got
3 years?
his grasp on me. I was now in love with him. I mean, how exciting and flattering that a grown, quote unquote, mature man would like me.
Mm-hmm.
He would make me promises of how he was waiting for me, that he loved me, he wanted to get married, etc. This love, quote unquote, was accompanied by a lot of control. I missed out on quite literally every high school experience because I was scared of the conflict that would arise in this relationship. This mixed with my severe social anxiety. My ignorant bliss completely flipped on its head when one day he gave me his Facebook password to help him with something in his account. This was a year in. Glad to help, I got into his Facebook to find numerous explicit messages and countless women proving that he was most definitely participating in a life I wasn't aware of. To say I was heartbroken was an understatement. However, his claws in me were too deep, and after a pathetic apology, I stupidly forgave and continued on.
Ugh.
He loved me after all. At least that's what he made me believe. It was 2 more years and a couple of repetitions of this cycle later when I finally flew out to Mexico on my 18th birthday to start dating him in real life. This was August 2021.
Oof.
I had forgiven him each time I caught him in these lies and betrayals, and to say that it was all bad would be a lie. We had good times. He felt like my best friend. I would confide in him for everything and always look to him when I needed a good laugh. Dating in person felt magical. Finally, we could start living out the many fantasies I had about our life that I created in my head. 2 months in, I felt he had proven to me that he really had changed his old habits and he was ready for our relationship to be taken to the next level. So, after discussion, he proposed, and of course, I said yes.
Oh, no, baby
She puts in
girl.
parentheses, ugh, idiot. Me when I talk to myself. However, a month later, I had a strong intuition that something was up as he started to act strange.
Yeah.
I am hardly ever a snooper, but I snooped and again found numerous sexually explicit messages with women. I was devastated. We were engaged and he decided to do this. I ran out on him, but he reeled me back in and I was stupid enough to come back. This was November 2021. The next month was us repairing our relationship. I really wanted proof that this would actually be the last time. My trust was crumbling, and when I flew back to the U.S. in January, I considered breaking it off for good. I was exhausted from his games and started to feel really taken advantage of. I also had no trust in him. Every word he spoke sounded like a lie. In February, after a month of working and going to school in the U.S. and finally getting the courage to break it off, I got the positive test. She's preggo.
Oh, no.
This was probably the scariest day of my life. To feel that you are trapped with someone who has been so terrible to you is quite literally the worst feeling. It was a battle in my head. Do I stay and make it work for my baby, or should I break it off anyways? I tried to make it work my whole pregnancy. I visited Mexico twice, and both times he showed me that he actually might be changing. I didn't find any evidence pointing to him cheating. He was actually being super kind and wonderful partner. While I was there, he took amazing care of me. He treated me like a queen. I wasn't fully convinced, but my feelings were starting to shift. I had my baby in October. She's my whole world, and all of a sudden, nothing else matters but her. Resentment, sadness, anger, and all these negative feelings towards him flooded in me after I had her. I couldn't help but think how disgusting it was that he took advantage of such a young girl. I felt angry about his actions and behaviors throughout the last 3 years. I can't help but think how he had ulterior motives the whole time. After a few weeks of thinking, I decided to pull the trigger. We have to separate. He is making it extremely difficult. I mean, how can I blame him? For 9 months, I led him to believe that we were okay. He is in love with our daughter, and I truly feel like he wanted to make this work so that we could be a family. He says for the baby, but I can't help but think it's for him. I feel like the bad guy for wanting to separate. How could I separate our potential family? Am I the bad guy for letting things of the past haunt our relationship now? If it were up to me, I would completely cut ties, but how can I make it so that he can feel involved in our daughter's life? Or do I even owe him that? Any advice or thoughts are welcome. I was so scared to write this because I'm so embarrassed. Oh, that makes me so sad. I'm going to address that in a second. Please hold. Writing this out just proves to me how naive and stupid I was. However, I'm hoping that your judgment-free zone remains true with this. Even if you don't read this on the pod, if you read this at all, I am so honored and thank you. Much love, Anonymous. And then she attached a picture of her and her baby.
Oh, little peanut.
She's so
Look
cute.
at her cheeks.
Oh, that gets me emotional. Okay. Today's episode is brought to you by Indeed. If you shied away from challenges, you wouldn't be the person you are today. Need to hire someone who loves a good challenge as much as you do? To find them fast, you need Indeed.
If you guys don't know, Indeed is the hiring platform where you can attract, interview, and hire all in one place. Don't spend hours on multiple job sites looking for candidates with the right skills when you can do it all with Indeed. Find top talent fast with Indeed's suite of powerful hiring tools like Indeed Instant Match, assessments, and virtual interviews. And hate waiting? You're not alone. Indeed's U.S. data shows over 80% of Indeed employers find quality candidates whose resume on Indeed matches their job description the moment they sponsor a job. Let me tell you something. I'm currently juggling 3 different small businesses, and hiring is such a nightmare. One thing I love the most about Indeed is their screening and assessments that they offer on their hiring platform. Indeed actually helps star applicants shine before the interview with over 135 graded assessment tests that they can take from cooking to coding. Select for the skills that matter. With Indeed assessments, you can pick from over 100 skills tests and add them to your job post. That way, you can find candidates with the right skills fast. Join over 3 million businesses worldwide using Indeed to hire great talent fast.
Indeed knows when you're growing your own business, you have to make every dollar count. That's why with Indeed, you only pay for the quality applications that match your must-have job requirements. Need to hire? You need Indeed. Visit Indeed.com/advice to start hiring now. Just go to Indeed.com/advice. Indeed.com/advice. Terms and conditions apply. I have so many things I want to say, and I feel like you are probably the same.
I'm infuriated.
It just, the more we've talked about this on an episode before, things like gaslighting and grooming and things that come to mind when I hear her story really were not, we weren't educated in them when we were young.
And to our parents/teachers' defense, I don't think they really knew about it either.
Yeah. Well, when you heard things like that, you thought more of really intense
it was
versions of that.
Very scary.
Of straight up grown man with a child, right?
Yeah. Extremes.
But there's so much we know now about the just terrible toxic cycle of people who gaslight and are narcissists and drag people into this whirlwind of a relationship that now we know of signs to watch for. And the whole time.
Thanks to Taylor Swift, who wrote All Too Well.
Right. Seriously.
Not me taking notes, listening to the song.
Yeah, but even in the cycle of her going back to him, her apologizing, her feeling embarrassed, it just shows how much he was in her mind. And that's how they control you.
Well, also, he got in at such a young age. He was teaching her what love is. He was the one that was showing her what a relationship is like, that had the ability to coach her into essentially, it sounds crazy, but I think he very much so and very bluntly manipulated you into marrying him from a very young age.
Yeah.
And I think that's why it probably felt so natural, because it did start so startlingly early. It's not I have so many girlfriends that are in the dating world right now, and it's so easy to spot when someone's being manipulative because it happens so fast. It's oh, a month later, they've already dove in. That's such an easy, obvious red flag.
Yeah.
When you've been talking to someone for years and you obviously have never been in a relationship before and you obviously don't know what love is or haven't experienced anything, it's very easy to trust them.
Yep.
Because you were a child.
Yep.
You're trusting. Like everyone is. That's not your fault. That's not anyone's fault. Like that's who you are innately as a child.
Yeah.
And what he did was extremely wrong. But I hate that you feel embarrassed because I would have probably done the same thing.
Yeah.
Like that's why we have to take such good care of kids and be so protective of them because they're vulnerable. And what he did was very, very wrong and manipulative. And I wouldn't be surprised if you're not the only one.
No, yeah. And like it's just like for that whole relationship to be triggered by you guys just meeting and being family friends, and then it just shows how much, you know, if he's going around and he's doing all these like messages with people, like he obviously is a guy that gets a high off of like women wanting him or being
he's getting
wanted.
off on it.
And I think just to go back on what you said, I've even noticed, and I've just so like I hate that you feel embarrassed and like dumb about this.
Yeah.
So I'm going to share some of my stuff so you understand like all of us have tendencies. If you have a unhealthy start in life to something, whether that's like people even like their relationship with parents when they're younger can affect how their relationships are older, but especially when it's like a romantic first experience. Like my first innocent love, which I always talk about, like you have your innocent love, you know, that you don't know any better, so you accept anything you get, and usually that's the one you get the most hurt of because you don't have any walls up.
You have no boundaries,
which
really.
This was yours.
Yeah.
And he went straight from like innocent love to all consuming.
It was innocent on your end.
Yeah.
It was very much not so on his part.
But mine was he kept going back to his previous girlfriend when I didn't know. So he forced me into being like the other girl. And I was so young and I didn't understand. And so that created this sense in me that I had to earn or prove to someone why they should choose me. And I still to this day struggle with that. Like I still struggle in my relationships, especially with guys, where I can be very performative because my biggest fear is that they're going to choose someone else over me. And I have to like really work to show them that like, no, it should be me, like choose me, you know? And I'm in my 30s and that was when I was in high school. And I still have effects of that because when you're so young and you're so just raw and vulnerable, those things can stick with you.
Yeah.
And so the patterns that you were involved in that you find embarrassing is nobody's fault except his. You were taken advantage of. You were forced into the situation. The fact that you withheld from high school things and he's not even around, like the fact that he had that power from you from that far away just shows how manipulative he was and shows that you owe him absolutely nothing. Like he's stolen enough from you. So I feel like you should not be embarrassed at all, but you should realize that you're part of a group of women or group of people in general that have had their like innocence stolen from them at a young age. And it's heartbreaking. And you should not feel embarrassed. Like you should mourn for that younger self of yourself.
Yeah.
Yourself, you know what I'm saying? Like younger version of yourself.
100%.
And support her the best way you can. Ugh.
Yeah. I mean, that the age that you were at is meant for making mistakes and learning and like doing all of these things, but not those kinds of mistakes.
Yeah.
You're supposed to be like goofing around with your friends, not in a serious relationship like that. And I'm so sorry he held you back from all of the amazing high school experiences. Piggybacking off of Taryne, obviously things dramatically change when you have a kid. I don't have a kid, but I've had plenty of friends that have had kids and everything changes. Like every friend I've ever had is like, nothing matters anymore except for this little baby. I will do everything in my power to protect, to take care of this child. And I think that includes keeping them safe from even their father sometimes. And I understand the honestly, natural desire to keep your family together. I think that is an instinct that we all have and would love. But that's unfortunately just not the case for a lot of people. And I think in your situation, it's safe to say that you have found yourself in a relationship with a narcissist and a manipulative liar. And I personally wouldn't want any of that near my kid.
Yeah.
I don't think you need to permanently keep him away. I think he could have visitation. I don't know where you live, so you might want to look into the laws of your state first, and see like what your options are. But I would go for full custody, and I would go for allowing him to visit along, obviously with like a supervised visit.
Yeah.
Because I would want my kid to at least know her father. But I don't think as of right now he has no say in her life and doesn't deserve to have a say because he's honestly trash. And I would keep that as far away from her as possible. Maybe someday. I do believe people can change. I think it's very rare, but I think it's possible. Yeah. If he can one day show up and be like, I've done this, 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 and this over X amount of time, then sure. Yeah. We can rethink it then. But until then, no, that baby girl is yours and you take very good care of her and surround yourself in a community that can help you do that.
Yeah. I mean, also like, again, like I don't know, we don't know a lot of the details, right? Like we're just seeing, we just read a very like bullet point list of what's going on. But I mean, I feel
did they
like
get married? I don't know.
No,
they're just engaged.
They were engaged and then she's breaking it off.
What's that called legally? There's a term for you're not married, but you're in a relationship that basically mimics marriage. There's a term.
I don't think they've been long enough. I think it has to be like a certain amount of years.
But if you're engaged and you have a kid together, that's a certain type of...
I don't know that.
TBD.
Yeah.
Google it. It'll pop right up.
I'm not sure. I mean, I think there's like, that's why I hope that like you can break through the whole like embarrassment part of this because you genuinely need to start talking to people about what's going on because part of me is like, would I even trust this man around a kid with the fact that like he pursued me as a kid? That would go into my mind. I do think people having babies like does change people. Like they realize like I got to get my life together, you know? Mm-hmm. I don't know. Like there's so much like up in the air. So I feel like you genuinely need to pull people into your life that you trust their judgment. They know you well. They know him, whatever it is. But with the whole, I've had many friends that have been in relationships that were not healthy. And they had kids and they had that pressure about, oh, I have to keep our family together. But at the end of the day, like when I would talk to them, I'm like, but is it better to have a family unit that is tense and toxic? Or is it better for you to show your kids an example of standing up for what's right for yourself and being the healthiest version of yourself? Mm-hmm. Like, it doesn't mean that you have to have a toxic relationship with your ex, but now we get 2 Christmases or now we get, visitations are fun or whatever.
I know it's not ideal. It's so common.
It is.
It is so common.
Sad, but it is.
But like that's just the truth and reality of where we're at. Yeah. And I think I agree. I wholeheartedly agree with Taryne. I've had so many friends get divorced and / listen to what their mom had to put up with or what their dad had to put up with. And the whole time they were like, why would you allow the other partner to do that? And I think something that people forget is like, just because they're kids doesn't mean they're dumb. Like they're aware, even if they can't articulate things, they're absorbing the emotions and they're witnessing the energy and they're witnessing the anger and, they're taking all of that in and it still deeply affects them.
Oh, 1,000%.
So even at a young age, if they can't fully vocalize like how they're feeling, watching their mom stand up and take care of them and prioritize them over this facade of a healthy, happy family is setting the bar high and setting the standards high in their own lives and teaching them what's actually right and what's actually worth pursuing, Yeah. And I think that is so monumental in how you raise your child.
Yeah. I mean, you know how I geek out on child development. I'm just going to drop a little nugget. If you didn't know, that's what I do for a living. But developmentally, children, like young kids, like around 2 and 3, they don't have the ability to pick up on what's going on around them and form their own emotions. Developmentally, they look to adults or someone they trust, and then they look at what emotion they have, and then that forms how they feel.
Yeah.
So if an earthquake happens, I'm looking to an adult, and if they look scared, I'm scared.
Yeah.
Or if, that's why, like, you'll see, like, if say, like, a kid is with their dad and the dad, like, raises their voice and is yelling at the TV football game, and then the kid gets scared and starts crying because they feel that emotion and it makes them feel scared and or anxiety or whatever. So, like, if you're at a place where you're fully focused on your kid, it makes sense why you're starting to get these feelings of like, okay, nothing else matters except her.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be around this. And I think you're valid in feeling that. You have to do what's best. If going into a relationship with him looks like a lot of control, a lot of controlling what your decisions are about your kid, a lot of toxic interactions, you being miserable, that's not going to be good for your kid either.
Yeah.
So I think if that's the only thing you have capacity to focus on what's best for her. And also, I mean, I heard this, there's this saying, and it always gets me every time it like gets circled around, but the whole like, when people tell you who you are, like listen.
Yeah.
And I think he's been showing you, like, with the multiple messages you found, with the multiple, like, lies you've caught him in, or reflecting and seeing the way he trapped you. The multiple women that
he's been talking to?
Yeah, like, there's
One
no
is
excuse
enough,
for that.
you know?
Yeah. So, I don't know. I feel like he's told you who he is. And I
feel like he made the decision for you.
Yeah.
I think he made it a very easy decision. I don't think he should be in your life or the kid's life for a while until he figures his shit out. Like, he needs to learn to prioritize you and you alone and the kid. Like, it's a very easy decision.
Yeah. I mean, just the fact
it's obviously your decision to
young.
make.
Yeah.
But like,
yeah.
Oof.
Well,
oof. Messy.
I think you need to seek people. You need to seek out people. You need to talk to people.
Look into child custody.
Be honest with how your relationship started.
Yeah.
Because if you're embarrassed, I'm sure when you talk about stuff, you're withholding things because you feel dumb. But you need to get rid of that because you were taken advantage of. Point blank.
And it's very important that you start sorting through your emotions because, I mean, you might think that you're in love, but that's not what love actually looks like because I don't know what his plan was in the beginning, but that's not normal. And I think it's really important that people tell you that.
Yeah, that's why there's laws in place. Like a 14-year-old, 15-year-old kid, like, can't give consent because they don't even know what they're talking about. Like, They're too young to be put in situations like that. So I think...
And I love how he planned it so perfectly right at 18. Like, you were able to go see him, you know? Like, it's really, really manipulative. He planned the whole thing out. To say he didn't is a lie.
Yeah.
So...
I really think you should look into therapy too. I'm going to throw that out there because I think the road to healing is going to be hard because I think a lot of realizations are going to come out of like, oh shoot, like that wasn't normal or that was not healthy. Yeah. So I think
for the next relationship
one day. Yeah, you've got a lot of processing ahead. But I think you focus on that beautiful baby girl and
even for motherhood.
Yeah.
Yeah, to get rid of, to process all of that and be done with it so that you can clear-headedly be a mom.
Yeah.
You know? I think even that alone is a perfect enough reason.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we're sending all of the love to you and your little one. And, you know, if anything, just focus on her. Like, she's the blessing that came out of, like, this mess. And I think... you focus on her and giving her the life and support and protection so that she doesn't end up in a situation like this. You know, like I think instead of focusing on the bad, we can shift to be like, okay, what can I take from this to make me stronger to face whatever else life has, you know?
100%. My dad was married before he met my mom, and was in just a horrible relationship, really bad, very messy marriage. They ended up getting divorced. He will tell you to this day, his son is the best thing that ever happened to him.
Yeah.
And that is the one good thing that ever came out of that relationship. And he thanks God every day that he had and went through that messy relationship because he got him.
Yeah.
So like, she is your blessing. She's your miracle. And let's fully focus on her and your guys' relationship.
I agree. Oh, we love you. And anybody else
I feel sick.
I think God gives us gut feelings. And I just feel like usually when you talk to people, people will say, yeah, like I had a feeling it was wrong, or I had a feeling it was off. And I think we don't talk about stuff because we get nervous we're going to like ruin it, or like
we're so happy in the moment. Yeah.
But that's why, like, the one thing I learned from my past relationship is I was so worried about protecting people's opinion on him that I ended up getting stuck in situations that did so much damage to me later.
Yeah.
So now, like, I will always tell people, like, it's important to tell people, what do you fight about in your relationship? Like, what bothers you about a person? Like, if something happens and you have like a weird feeling, like that was a weird interaction, go and tell somebody that you trust. If it's someone who genuinely loves you, they'll be able to walk through that with you and not just be like, oh, break up with him, but actually talk through it.
Yes.
But if you have a weird feeling about a person, no matter who they are to you or what their relationship is to you, you need to voice it.
Yeah.
Because when you start to suppress that intuition that you have, it gets weaker and weaker. So you have to, when you feel those feelings, talk to somebody. And if you end up in a situation where you're like, this isn't right, get help. Like it snowballs faster than you ever imagine.
Yeah.
So at the beginning, with those little tiny things that start to be like, ooh, that felt weird. Just if you're in a situation like that, talk to somebody you love and trust, because it's always like hindsight that you're like, oh, why didn't I say anything? You know?
Yeah. I agree with Taryne. Lesson to be learned from this: talk.
Yeah.
Share everything.
Don't be embarrassed.
Even at like 15, 16, if you had told a friend that you were chatting with a guy who was significantly older in another country that you met years ago and you might go see him, you know, this summer or whenever, like anyone would have been like, oh,
well, and why do you think that's why people who are narcissistic isolate the people they're with?
Yep.
I guarantee if we asked her, did you have friends in high school? She would probably say no.
Yeah.
Because he was so controlling. Because people know when they're doing something like sketchy.
Yeah.
I'm going to isolate you so that you don't tell
you have
anybody.
No idea.
And nobody's checking in on you.
I had a friend recently who's significantly older than you are. She's more my age, who was in a relationship, and she was in it for 2 months. And very quickly, I stopped seeing her. More importantly, I know our lives are busy and we don't always see each other. I stopped really hearing from her. And every time I did see her, she was on the phone with this guy.
Which very polar opposite to her personality. She's a very relational person.
Yes. And she would walk into my house on the phone with him, and she would hang up and she'd be like, hey, okay, I love you. I'll call you back. And I remember being like, you said it. You're saying I love you already? Like, you just met this guy. But for whatever reason, like, we never found ourselves in a conversation about their relationship because it was so new. And then next thing we know, everything escalates. She goes to see him. It's extremely toxic. He's very controlling, very manipulative. Yeah. And she got out of it, thank God, and came and then told me everything. But like, if she had told me everything beforehand, I don't think she would have gone to see him.
No.
Because I would have talked her out of it. Because I would have been like, hey, this isn't normal. This is actually very scary. And I don't want you to go somewhere you've never been before with this person, you know?
Yeah.
But I was never given that opportunity. Looking back, I wish I would have just been like, I wish I would have been more open to be like, oh, you say I love you already.
Yeah.
Interesting. Tell me more about it. Nothing putting her on the spot or making her feel bad, because obviously she felt it. She said it. But there's nothing wrong with having a conversation about it.
No, and I think that's what, and this is totally going to be a one-story episode.
But I notice.
But I really think this is important stuff to talk about, because I don't think people take the responsibility of being a friend as serious as they should.
Mm-hmm.
If I call myself your friend, I should be asking you the hard questions.
Yeah.
And I should be okay with realizing if I pursue this pushing and telling you my concerns, you could get mad at me and not talk to me.
It's a risk.
But if I love you, that's worth the risk than me just not saying stuff.
1,000%. Especially if you've been told by that person that you are one of their close friends. There's like acquaintances. Let's be real with ourselves. If you're an acquaintance, it's not your place. If it has been clearly stated that you are one of their close friends, it is actually your duty to voice your concerns, not to change their decision making, but to voice your concerns as a friend and as someone who loves them.
And like in conversations I've had, I've said that. I've been like, hey, I always, like I just said previously, I always ask my friends in a relationship, like randomly, I'll be like, hey, what was your last fight about? And I want to talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had friends that they've told me their last fight, and I've been like, that's a little bit weird.
Yeah.
And so then I'll just say, hey, you know that I love you, and I'm not judging you. I'm not judging him, but like I would love to further talk about, like, is that something that happens often? Does he always control what you're wearing? Does he always, make you feel guilty when you go see your family? Like certain things where I'm like, what, that's kind of a red flag, and I'm going to talk about it with you.
Yeah.
And I don't come across judgy. I don't come across harsh, but I come across in a way where I say, I love you and I'm protective of you, and it's my job. Like, I take my job as your friend seriously, so I want to talk about it.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes we get so like, that looks messy, I'm just going to stay in my own lane. And I think that there's so many situations like Anonymous wrote in, that if people were really paying attention, they would be like, that's interesting. She stopped going to all the school events. That's interesting. Yeah. She never wants to hang out.
Why doesn't she want to go to prom? Why doesn't she want to go to homecoming?
Yeah, but we're so wrapped up in our own lives that we just kind of let people do their own thing. But we have to step out and say, hey, I'm just checking in, like things seem off, because that's how we care for people and we look out for people, because people in those situations, it's very rare that they notice what's going on until it's too late,
Yeah, you're too wrapped up in all of the lovey-dovey stuff, especially, I really want to emphasize this, at that age.
Yep.
I mean, I still get wrapped up in all the lovey-dovey stuff, and I'm 32.
Yeah.
When I was 15, he was freaking a prince that just dropped out of heaven, a Greek god that landed in my lap, and I'm obsessed with him. Yeah. I live, eat, and breathe him. Like, at that age, I just, again, with the whole, like, you feeling embarrassed, they become everything. And you don't have any real like responsibilities yet other than school. So you have all this time to really like daydream and like really like envision like your life with them and like fall deeply in love with them. So it's such a different thing at that age.
Yeah.
I can say I'm finally at a place where I can separate those emotions and like think more clearly. But even at my age, I still get excited and I still get wrapped up in it. So you cannot be hard on yourself at that age. The wild. What a wild story.
So everybody needs to pry into their friends' lives and ask all the questions. He sucks. I mean, obviously, we're not telling you what to do, but like we kind of are.
Trash. He's trash.
We try not to give like straight up.
We don't name call.
And
trash.
We don't know. Again, we don't know the whole story, but I highly, highly recommend that you reach out and talk to people and tell them every single detail, even the ones you're embarrassed about. Because someone in your life who knows you and is close to you needs to know all of this so they can help you through it.
Yeah. If you have a friend in a similar situation, send them this episode.
No, literally.
And then text them after they've listened to it and be like, hey.
Hey.
Just checking in.
Would like to have a further talk. Yeah.
We definitely will be only doing one story because we went way over than we were supposed to. I feel like we've been doing this lately. But like when I also don't hate it because when Taryne and I get on a roll, I feel like it's usually for a reason. And hopefully anyone listening to this message, sure.
Sure.
anyone listening to this story that needed to hear this message, hopefully that all really resonated with you.
Yeah. Well, also, like, that's been our thing from day one is, like, we talk just straight from our guts, our heart guts.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I don't want to ever, like, shy away from talking about something because we're, like, trying to finish in time or, like, get 2 stories in.
Exactly.
We got all the stories.
It was a long story. Like, there was a lot to unpack
dissect,
there.
yeah.
And thank you so much, Anonymous, for writing in that story and for all the details because it really helped me form my opinion.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go ahead and end with
Let's do it.
a dad joke. I'm having deja vu, but I don't think I've said this one.
Okay.
We'll see. Why are piggy banks so wise? I don't know why I said it with such, like, inflection.
Wise. Piggy banks are wise because I don't know.
Because they're filled with common sense.
That's a good one. Okay, that's a good one.
Thanks, Ash.
Guys, you already know the drill. If you made it to the dad joke, we love you the mostest. Be sure to follow us on Instagram. Be sure to follow us on YouTube. We record every single episode and not for nobody, for you guys. So if you want to see us while we do our little advice, then check us out on YouTube. And if you're sitting on a story or you have some advice that you need, write us.
Write us.
Send us.
Stop what you're doing.
An email.
Write us.
A very detailed description of what you're going through. Also, if I could just throw in a little little thing, I would love your age. I would love the state that you live in. Just descriptors to help me form a better idea of what we're talking about. It's very helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it does because the whole time I wanted to know how old he was.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like it was obvious that he was over 18.
Yeah. It felt very obvious.
But I was
picturing mid to late 20s.
Yeah. So yeah, we love all the deets.
Yeah.
Okay.
Send in the details.
Send the deets.
And yeah, we love you the mostest. We'll talk to you guys in the next episode, which hopefully we get to 2 stories.
We'll try.
No promises. Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.